It's another night under the bright lights of Hustler Casino. But this isn't just another game.
Healthcare and all that.
How much is it?
30,000.
This is a 4-bet pot pre-flop for Rampage to win this entire pot.
Tonight, the stakes are bigger than ever. We have $100,000 pots, $200,000 swings, and one mistake can cost a huge fortune. The difference between a $100,000 win and a $100,000 loss could all come down to one hand. Welcome to the $300,000 game. We get situated and see that this is no ordinary game. This is a $50,000 minimum buy-in with everyone at the table known for incredible action, and throughout the game we play the $500 Squid Game. For those who are new, the Squid Game just jacks up these 100, 200 blinds to be worth even more. This will play equivalent to like a $500, $1,000 blind game where the $50,000 minimum buy-in will be treated like quarters. There's no better example than this situation here. We're on the last button of the Squid Game, so I'm on the hook to disperse $5,000 around the table if I don't win this exact hand. I put on the $800 straddle, we get two players to call, then Peter on my right raises to $4,000. I look at pocket fours, and with $40,000 in my stack, I'm all in. I really need to win this pot, and I'm trying my best to get folds. And one by one, everyone folds onto Peter, who ends up showing me the ace, but lets it go. Phew, it's pretty daunting to be forced to jam with a small pair like this, but I pick up some dead money, but it just goes to show just how volatile this game is going to be. 10 minutes later, I look at the unfoldable hand, 6-7 offsuit. What a premium this is, and action folds to me in the cutoff. Of course, I have to raise it up to 2,000. Big Mike makes the call on the button, and heads up to a flop we go of 7-6-3. Top two pair. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited about this one. After raising such a bad hand and getting a dream flop like this, I check. Mike bets out 2,000, and I'm trying to get as much money in the middle as possible here. I check raise to 7,000, and back onto Mike, and you can see that this dream flop might have just turned into a nightmare as he makes the call. The turn comes the Jack of Hearts. It's a complete brick that doesn't change the board, and I'm here to continue betting. I throw 10,000 into the middle, sizing for an all-in on the river, and Mike does that for me by going all-in himself. I snap call with two pair, of course, and Big Mike playing the 4-5 offsuit and getting rewarded in a $93,000 pot. The only time I see players play worse is just on gold. And you can use my name Rampage to collect some bonuses. It's the best platform with the worst players in the country, available in 44 states and now Canada along with it. You can also have a chance to play and win a WPT $10,000 seat for as low as 2 chips. So join me and play today. And now we're back here off to one river card for a $93,000 pot, and I get stacked and lose my $50,000 buy-in immediately. It feels like it's starting to be routine here at this point at Hustler Casino Live, but I'm not a quitter, and I reload for another $50,000. In the next spot, Henry raises to 1,400, and I get 1, 2, 3 calls back to me, and I see 6-7 offsuit again. Time for this hand to redeem itself, please. I make the call in the straddle, and the flop is 7-6-6. What an incredible way to be redeemed here. Now I just need anyone to pump some money in the middle, and everyone checks on this flop. So off to a turn card, which is the 3 of spades. I mean, that's decent. At least I need to do some of my betting for myself. So I start off with a small bet of 2,500, and one by one, everyone folds until Airball check raises me to $12,000. This is the dream we wanted. What a beautiful, beautiful Nick Airball with a massive raise, putting in more money. I just make the call for $12,000 since I'm clearly afraid of 0 cards on the river, and I want him to keep firing off. The river is the 3 of clubs now, so it's really not the best card to get paid. It feels really hard to be bluffing into a double paired board like this, and sadly, Nick checks. Now, I'm just not sure what world we live in, but I just don't know a single hand that can pay off a big bet on the river as played. I'm actually hoping Nick is ambitious enough to bluff, so I decided to bet a small amount of 7,000 into the middle to hopefully induce a bluff perhaps. But to my surprise, he actually makes the call, and of course I'm going to win with the flopped full house. And unfortunately, his flush just happened to be the worst card for that flush to come. About 2 hours into play here, I've been pretty quiet, but that is all about to change right now. There's an $800 straddle on, Jeff and Peter limp in, and I'm going to make the most of my tight image here and raise to 5,000 with a very ugly 9-8 offsuit. Not to my surprise, Big Mike makes the call on my left. I feel like I can't ever get him to fold here, but everyone else gets out of the way. Flop of Ace King 6 Rainbow is just as good of a board for me to look at. I start off with a small bet of 4,000, and Mike here, never deterred, makes the call. The turn comes a queen. Now I've got a whole lot of nothing besides some stubbornness and an unwillingness to quit. I fire out $14,000 into the middle, and luckily that is enough to get him to fold, thank goodness. It actually would have been super scary if I had to pull the third trigger here, but luckily I don't need to. And I have to show some absurdity here. About 2.5 hours in, I'm grateful to have had a front row seat to witnessing this insane $400,000 pot that brewed out of absolutely nowhere. Martin and Nick both flop the nut and second nut flush and proceed to get all of their chips in, with Airball making an amazing slow roll on the river. This is pretty much peak poker content here, and I'm just happy to report this and say I was able to witness this firsthand, and the overall plan is now moving forward to stay out of both of their ways tonight.
I was waiting. I was thinking, is he doing it? Is he doing it?
130. Oh my, 143.
Next, with the $800 straddle on, Martin starts off with a very sneaky limp for 800, and everyone around decides to limp in as well. So his plans turns into disaster, but I'm in the mix with 10-9 offsuit and off to a flop of Queen 10-8 2 hearts. With middle pair, action checks to Big Mike, who throws out $3,000 into the middle, which is a pretty large bet considering how small this pot is. Martin makes the call with his sneaky aces hand, and Peter calls too. Now back onto me. I just see the perfect opportunity to squeeze and rep a strong hand. I check raise to a large amount of 16,000. So somehow, with only 4,000 in the middle originally, we will play a $40,000 pot in no time. Action folds to Martin, who'd I obviously never expect to fold, and he does make the call, so I've got to find some more courage to bluff out here. When the turn comes the 4 of hearts, the flush completes, and I just run back into my cave and hide. I decide to check, but luckily Martin checks back too, so maybe I could bluff out on the river, and it comes the deuce of hearts. Now with 4 hearts out there, I decide to find the courage again and throw out a bluff worth 14,000 into the middle. Let's just pray my opponent doesn't have a heart somehow, and with my great fortune, he folds aces. I mean, what an insanely bad runout, or at least what I thought was a bad runout for me, turns into a dream situation as I get to bluff aces out of the pot. I'll take this one down, and we're starting to creep back into the black on the day. If you thought the last hand was crazy, just watch me here. I looked down at 4 deuce suited and I limp in for $400 in early position. Big Mike to my left raises to 2,000. It's something he's been doing over and over again today, and this time I think I've had enough. What's even more crazy is that 3 other players around make the call for 2,000. Action's back onto me to close things out, and I'm tired of Mike bullying me here. I come in for the limp 3-bet to 14,000. I stole this move from the old man coffee downstairs, but I must have forgotten the part about only having aces when you do this. But with 4 high and a dream, I still get insane action. Big Mike folds, but everyone else calls. I guess they're in for a penny, in for a pound, and I guess we have a $60,000 pot brewing with a whole lot of nothing. I'm praying for some help, and the flop is King Jack 8 Rainbow. I'm quite afraid of bluffing here, to be honest, and with so many players in and my cards are just so bad, it seems impossible to get everyone to fold. So I check, and we see a free turn card, which comes a deuce. Hitting a pair here might be the sign I needed to fire up the bluffing engine, and once again, action checks to me. It feels like if anyone had something strong, they would be betting out by now, and I reach one time for some courage, and fire out 30,000 into the middle. This might be the singular largest bet of the night I've made so far, and I just found these chips too. I'm putting them into use. Part of me is afraid to run big bluffs, yet another part of me right now is so excited to be able to win a hand with 4 deuce suited. I watched Jellyfish make an agonizing fold, which makes me feel so much sweeter as everyone folds and my master plan of bluffing works out. I profit almost $50,000 in this hand, which is an insane amount of money for how bad of cards I had in front of me. And then again, I have a front row seat to by far the most insane pot of the night. Jellyfish goes into the tank for about 5 minutes in this $400,000 pot, hero calling on the river with just ace high. And what's even sicker is Martin ends up winning with a better ace high while bluffing it off. I have literally never seen a pot get so big where the person bluffing wins the whole thing. And in the next highlight reel, Jellyfish opened things up to 1,400 after losing that massive pot. I can't imagine he's thinking right now. Jeff makes the call, Peter makes the call, and I have a premium in the straddle. With ace king, I bump things up to 12,000. Really trying to isolate anyone in the pack here with such a good hand, and it looks like Jellyfish is the only person willing to take the bite. Everyone else ends up folding, and we see a flop of Queen Jack 10. What a beautiful board for ace king. I've bluffed a lot of money off in a similar spot like this on this board, and this time I finally have it. I start off with a bet of $12,000. I think Jelly here will connect a lot of the time or just fold, so why not bet a tad bigger? And Jelly does make the call, which is just amazing to even get action after flopping the nuts. The turn comes in 9 of hearts, and on the surface level, I actually didn't like this card. I didn't want things to check through though, so I bet really small to 11,000, and Jelly looks like he has a pretty tough decision to make, and he thinks about it for a while before ultimately going all in with the nuts. I couldn't have asked for a better result, and it's even better to see that I'm unable to lose this pot at all, and I'll take this one down after a clean river. Things seem to be finally starting to go my way here at Hustler again. If you take a look at my stack, I'm in the game for $100,000, and I have over $220,000 in front of me. Let's hope we can find a way to keep things going, or even find a way to win a little bit more. With the action getting primed, Peter raises the action on the button to 2,400. I have the best time to look down at ace king, and I 3-bet to 10,000. Then Big Mike on my left wakes up with another raise of his own, making it 30,000. Big Mike does not let up. Action folds back to me here, and I'm obviously never folding. Let's potentially play the largest pot of the night for me so far. I make the call. Flop is ace 10 7 rainbow. It's just perfect and beautiful for me here. It's very unlikely that I'll ever be folding at all, and Big Mike starts off with a large bet to 28,000. I literally see no reason to do anything besides call. So here we are, a $120,000 pot brewing, and the turn is the 9. Doesn't really bring a whole lot of help for me as action goes check, check. And the river 5, now with top pair, just top kicker. It seems very reasonable to value bet my hand. And if I saw the graphics, I obviously would have checked it, but poker is obviously very difficult when the cards are face down. I thought maybe ace jack could make a call of a large bet, so I throw 80,000 into the middle. And this is by far the biggest bet I've ever made of the night so far. And if my opponent has something for a call, this pot will end up being close to $300,000. But you see, Mike doesn't have much. He lets go of his king high. And it seemed like maybe there was a chance he wanted to bluff off at this. But this is another very big pot coming my way, and I couldn't be more happy. With about an hour left of the stream, I'm up $185,000. I mean, this is the biggest win I would have ever had this month. It's been a very brutal month, and it's desperately needed. So with only 60 minutes left, separating myself from locking up this win. For those watching right now, comment down below if you think I'll hold onto the 185,000 or I'll find a way to punt it off at the end of the night. Now with the $800 straddle on, I decided to get a little cute and sneaky with ace-king suited, trying the limp 3-bet strategy as last time, but no dice here. No one has good enough of a hand to be involved, and it becomes a 4-way limped pot to jack 4-5 2 diamonds. Honestly, pretty amazing to flop 2 overcards and the nut flush draw. I bet 2,000 into the middle, and Mike, directly on my left, immediately raises to 7,000. I'm actually not going to be folding, obviously, but I am a little bit suspicious to feel like he's got a strong hand here. When the turn comes, the 7 of hearts does not change anything for me here, and once again, Mike keeps firing out for 15,000. I feel like I would be going crazy if I ever folded a draw as good as this one, so naturally, I make the call yet again. The river comes in ace now. Hitting top pair makes me feel a little bit comfortable, perhaps. Maybe the one pair is the winner, but I feel even more confident when Mike decides to check this one back. I show my ace-king, but get shown the bad news. I lose somehow, saying goodbye to this $50,000 pot. And we haven't spoken a whole lot about the Squid Game, but it comes into effect here. I'm under the gun, I'm desperate to win the Squid Game, and so much so that I actually limp in blind for $400 under the gun, and everyone ends up following suit, so this becomes a 6-way limped pot, which is hard to win. But the flop of 4-4 deuce 2 hearts seems pretty reasonable, as Nick bets $1,000. I try to thin out the field. I don't want anyone else to just call and float with 2 overcards, so I decide to make it 4,000. One by one, everyone ends up folding, which is perfect news. I didn't want anyone else in there, and it's just me and Nick off to the races. The turn comes the Jack of Diamonds, brings in my flush draw to go along with my pair, and I decide to bet 7,000 into the middle, just trying to bloat up a pot. He's definitely known to be a sticky one, as he does make the call yet again. And the river queen. Very surprised to see that I've got 2 pair here, and when Nick decides to check, I definitely need to bet for value, but I actually didn't know if my flop and turn bets were bluffs or value. It's just a tricky game. But this time here, I throw $20,000 out, and can I get a call? Nick hates folding, but it's time to see how curious he can get. He decides to find a call, and I win another one with my pair of queens. Very lucky to have sucked out there on the river, and with 40 minutes left, I'm just counting down the clock to be able to rack up and call this a day. Clearly, it's not the best mindset to be in, but I really just want to cash in on the profit now. And this hand here that you're watching sets up the dynamic for the following last hand of the session. I 3-bet Peter with 10-7 offsuit, and then he decides to 4-bet me with 4-5 offsuit. I'll be honest, it's very ambitious for this to happen, and it ends up working out here. But now I know he's capable of putting big raises with hands as bad as this. And all this history leads into 7 minutes left of the stream. A few players limp in for $400, and Peter raises to 4,000. And I've actually got a real hand with ace queen of spades in the blinds. I bump things up to 13,000, and as everyone ends up folding, back to Peter, who puts in yet another raise to 40,000 this time. Oh boy, Peter is clearly not one to slow down on the gas. And after seeing the 4-5 offsuits from earlier, ace queen looks like an insanely good premium now, so let's see a flop, and I make the call with over $80,000 in the middle. Flop is Jack 3-3. Without a single spade on the board, really hurts my chances of thinking my hand is good, but Peter starts off with a small bet of $25,000, which is quite small considering the size of the pot. I might be too stubborn, but I call. I'm hoping Peter can find a way to shut down his bluff. The turn, deuce of clubs, brings completely no help for me, sadly. And even worse, he fires out $40,000. And here, every single fiber of my being is just actually completely torn on wanting to call or fold. I mean, on one hand, my hand is pretty garbage at this point, and I feel like I should fold. But the bet is so small, and compared to the pot, I don't know what to do. Peter has clearly shown the ability to have any 2 cards in the situation, so when I'm curious, I'm very curious. I decided to continue again for a call, so off to the river we go, which comes another deuce. And now my ace-queen high doesn't even play, it's just ace high. Peter goes into deep thought and ultimately decides on continuing with another small bet of $60,000. And here I am. Immediately, the first thought is whether I actually could bluff at this and whether Peter could fold at all. Like, how likely can I rep a full house, or could I have aces or kings? And I don't know. How likely could I fold out these hands too? And it seems impossible. It's definitely impossible against Peter. So now there's $271,000 in the middle, and I just keep thinking about all the potential of making an insane ace-high hero call to win this money. And ultimately, I can't put myself to it. I just fold, and Peter shows the goods with pocket queens. So, nice hand by Peter. It's well played by him, and I just lost over $100,000 in this hand, giving away more than half of my profits with just a minute left in the show is always quite painful. Just got back home. I am so relieved to have booked a freaking win. I can't tell you how sad I was though to lose the 200K pot and just dust off more than half of my profits at the end of the night, literally like 5 minutes before the stream ended. But hey, at least I survived, and the win was huge. In the game for $100,000, out of the game for $183,900. Chalk it up as a win. Thank you for tuning in. My goodness, this was the life I needed in order to breathe.